Both Amazon and Starbucks are pledging to fight on against their workers after suffering some major L's. Following Friday's historic union win in Staten Island, Amazon released a statement saying it is considering raising a challenge to the election and accused the National Labor Relations Board of having undue influence in the process. Basically, it's like losing by 3 touchdowns and accusing the refs of cheating. But given the makeup of the federal court system all the way up to the top, it is kind of scary to think what might happen if Amazon filed suit against the NLRB and got reactionaries on the court to void the union and gut the agency. We'll worry about that down the road. For now, it's on to the next step. The Amazon labor union has to bargain for an agreement with management, a fight that will be every bit as difficult and long as the initial unionizing effort. The union is demanding that those negotiations begin in early May. Its vice president of organizing, Derek Palmer, told Democracy Now! What the union will be asking for during collective bargaining.
Better benefits, better pay, like sick time. Those are the basic things. Also, job security. Amazon has 150% turnover ratio at JFK alone. So people that come and commute from all these different boroughs, their jobs should be secured. It shouldn't take them 3 hours to get to work, and then when they get there, they could possibly be fired. The possibilities of that are very high. So we have to make that change, and also recruiting more workers to get involved with the union. Becoming shop stewardess. So we want to have shop stewardess in different departments, so that have workers representing other workers, and that we can create an environment where our demands, and the workers' needs are appreciated. So if you have these workers on the inside being more involved with the union, then now you create a powerful force, that ultimately can't really be stopped, and Amazon has to abide by these rules.
Another cool aspect of this story is that organizers reported that they derived part of their strategy in Staten Island from the writings of 20th century communist labor organizer William Z. Foster and his methods to unionize the steel industry. And the Amazon labor union hopes to put those tactics into practice again when it gears up for another election later this month at a second facility in Staten Island. In March, when the NLRB scheduled that election, Amazon said they were looking forward to having their employees' voices heard. Not sure if that's the case now, after the union won the first contest. In fact, it was never the case, that's obvious. The company spent more than $4 million alone in 2021 trying to beat unionizing everywhere, not just in Staten Island, but also in Bessemer, where Amazon is trying to defeat another union campaign. And according to a new report in The Intercept, the company so doesn't want to have their employees' voices heard that they moved to block certain words from appearing on an internal company chat app and flagged the employees who use them. Ken Klippenstein has that story about the internal document showing the company messaging platform that is supposed to launch later this month is prohibiting the use of words such as union, grievance, and pay raise. But it goes beyond even union busting. The list of prohibited words is long, and it could block any criticism of the company unless you're first clever about the words that you use. For example, you can't say stupid, can't say harassment, can't say trash, can't say unfair, can't even say the word restrooms. Restrooms. Not allowed to type out the word restrooms. Also pretty clear what the company is getting at when it prohibits the use of words like slave and plantation. Anyway, nothing discourages workers from joining a union more than presenting them with a list of banned words that includes restroom. Surely this won't backfire. Moving on to Starbucks now, former CEO and notorious union buster Howard Schultz returned to his post atop Starbucks on Monday, and in a speech to workers, shareholders, and the press, vowed to keep on fighting the union. Starbucks Workers United just nabbed a big win last week with the company's New York City Roastery voting 46-36 to join the union. Assuming results hold in Knoxville, where the union leads by 1 vote with 1 ballot contested, then that brings the unionized cafe count to 10. Schultz is willing to make some concessions to workers. He claimed the company will forego billions of dollars in stock buybacks to invest more in employees and cafes across the country. But what he will not do is just recognize the organizing happening in over 160 locations and put an end to the struggle that the company is currently spending a lot of money on losing. During a Starbucks town hall on Monday, Schultz talked about the union like an outside attacker.
But I do want to talk about something pretty serious. We can't ignore what is happening in the country as it relates to companies throughout the country being assaulted in many ways by the threat of unionization.
Being assaulted, huh? They're literally just your own workers, dude. Come on. Schultz apparently made a pitch for NFTs, too. Hey guys, instead of a pay raise, what if we gave you worthless JPEGs? Said the company keeps losing, but that doesn't mean it can't still inflict pain on individual workers, which it's doing. According to filings with the NLRB, Starbucks is firing workers and union leaders across 24 states. The latest being worker organizer Layla Dalton in Scottsdale, Arizona, at a cafe that is on the verge of holding a union election. Starbucks Workers United described it as an act of blatant retaliation by the company, and More Perfect Union is calling for a congressional investigation into Starbucks' actions. Schultz is declaring a class war inside the company, and if he really wants to contest 160 some odd union elections coming down the pike at his cafes, then the union will oblige. It's got a pretty good track record so far, winning 10 out of 11 contests. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.